The most popular Padre of all time, Tony Gwynn, stepping in.
The bat on the ball for a single to left field.
Hard, Sandberg over his head, a right center field base hit.
Way back into right center, Tony Gwynn got all of that. The game is tied.
Tony Gwynn hits his second home run of the year. Drives in his third run of the night.
Tony already off to an excellent start, hitting .367.
He's set. The third is Gwynn. 5-3, San Diego.
Baseball in the early 90s was something special. You had all of your big-name stars like Ivan Rodriguez, Iron Man Cal Ripken, and Frank Thomas hitting their primes. Later, also witnessing the birth of the home run savants like Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, and Mark McGwire, which all leaped into a home run race in the late 90s. And of course, we can't forget about the ever so flashy Ken Griffey Jr. With the rules being simpler, steroids being legal, and the overall crowd interactions, 90s baseball was just different. 1990 saw the last season of Barry Larkin and the Reds winning the World Series. 91 was the year of the Twins, but 92 and 93 were controlled by the Blue Jays. However, the 1994 season was a different story. How one of the greatest batting seasons ever would be cut short due to the selfishness of others. And how one swing would turn a Hall of Famer into a legend as we watched him fall ever so short of a milestone that may never happen again.
Gwynn.
Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn.
Tony Gwynn.
A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
Tony Gwynn is a Hall of Famer who played for the San Diego Padres and easily classed as one of the greatest hitters of all time. In his career, Tony Gwynn hit .338, which is ranked 20th all time, and technically second all time after the 60s. First is Ted Williams, who led with .344. During his time in San Diego, he accomplished 15 All-Star games, 5 Gold Gloves, 8 batting titles, and 7 Silver Slugger awards. This also along with his 2 World Series appearances. He was so good that even the great Greg Maddux said this during an interview.
Break it down to a sport, I think more of a sport that has to do with a lot of mind games where you can maybe try to get into somebody's head. I don't mess with Tony too much because he'll end up, messing up your head.
But by his 1994 season, he was already batting .358 and had a .398 on-base percentage, which led all of MLB in 1993. But why is 1994 so special? After his 1993 campaign, the Padres let him elect free agency, which meant he could go to any team he wanted to. However, Tony Gwynn was very adamant about staying loyal to his team and signed back with the Padres, leaving behind millions of dollars in free agency. This is just who Tony Gwynn was. He cared more about his legacy and the team than the money. His raw hitting ability mixed in with his work ethic was bound to create something special. In 1994, he was breaking out for his best season yet. Chasing 400 was something he very well could do. But what is 400 and why do we care? 400 is a batting statistic that relies on the sole ability of a player to hit a baseball. For example, in 2023, the best hitters were hitting 300, and the worst hitters were hitting in the low hundreds. If we take a look at the list of everybody who's ever hit 400 in the history of baseball, it looks something like this. However, if we take out all the players who either played in the minors or played against only plumbers, carpenters, or any other people, our list ends up looking like this. Roger Hornsby, George Sisler, Ty Cobb, Ed Delaney, and Ted Williams, all of these are phenomenal hitters for their time, and some of the best to ever do it, especially Ted Williams, who hit 400 in 1941, but finished above a 370 multiple times nearing the end of his career. Even though some of these people did it twice, they still played in an era where baseball wasn't at its peak yet, and players didn't really know how to develop. Not to discredit who they were and how they played, but Tony Gwynn just lived in a harder era. Pitchers could pinpoint spots and where they wanted to pitch. They also held many different types of pitches, as well as their fastball rising in at a lot higher velocity. Some of these pitchers include Greg Maddux, Randy Johnson, Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens, Mariano Rivera, Curt Schilling, Pedro Martinez, and more. Even with all this writing against him, Tony Gwynn looked unstoppable. It's almost like once you threw the pitch, that he got on base.
He's the right-hander. Dangerous.
More.
1-1 delivery. Lots of coverage of the plate. And there it is. He said he was going to do it, and he does.
Tony Gwynn started off hot, swinging .395 in April, even going 5-for-5 against the great Curt Schilling at one point. He even had a massive streak of 11 days without striking out. This 11-day streak would be one of the smallest he had all season. May was a continuation, and further proved how good he was. He was swinging above 400 until May 16th. This would be his last day above 400. But on May 16th, he would also start another streak of not striking out. This one lasted 19 days. In June, he kept on pounding the ball, swinging around .391, and even had another whopping 14-day streak of not striking out. July was a bit slower. He started the month swinging .382, but later got on a hot streak hitting 19 for 40, bringing him back up to .390. As August was rolling around, he looked like he was going to achieve it. On August 11th, he needed to go 4-for-5 against the Astros to get above 400 since May. And with one more at-bat in the day, Tony Gwynn was able to.
Fire lately. 2 hits yesterday. He drops one into left field, but it will be the third out of the inning. Taken care of by Glenn Wilson.
But there will be another game, right? Another day to hit? Dreams faded away as the MLB went on strike. And just like that, Tony Gwynn had history ripped away from him. He finished the season .394, 1 hit away from breaking 400. He also mentioned in an NBC interview that
Oh, yeah, I was going to do it in 94. There's no question in my mind I was going to do it.
he had 165 hits, 64 RBIs, and a total of only 19 strikeouts. The reason the MLB went on strike was because the owners were trying to set a salary cap on how much they could pay the players. This would cause the players to be paid less, and the owners would gain more revenue. The MLBPA decided that they wanted to fight for their players, and wanted their players and everybody within the organization to get paid more money. This caused disputes, which led to work stoppage, and this is known as the 8th and longest work stoppage in MLB history. Even without this record, Tony Gwynn is recognized as great, and nothing less of it. It is really unfortunate that we had to see him lose this record this way. However, he still had a very great career. Beloved by fans, beloved by teammates, his career went out on the right way. Everyone, including the commissioners, wished he would have reached this record. But maybe somebody else one day will be able to reach it.
So I'll leave this game with a smile on my face, knowing that I've had a good career, I've met a lot of people, but I will miss you, and I'll miss you a lot. And so with that, I say goodbye.